shit. No one heard me. Speaking under my breath, it's okay. Chill. And he's gone.
Audience, we request you to please remain silent.
Thank you.
Thank you. Audience, please remain silent. Audience, please maintain silence. Our guests shall be arriving in some time.
Dear audience, our guests have arrived. Please welcome them with a huge round of applause.
Non-violence is a weapon of the strong. With this inspiring quote by Mahatma Gandhi, we would like to begin today's program.
A very good morning to one and all. I am Dhwani.
And I am Sanmitra, and we will be your hosts for today.
We have gathered here to celebrate the International Day of Non-Violence, which is observed on 2nd October, the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, leader of the Indian independence movement and pioneer of the philosophy and strategy of non-violence. We would like to begin today's program with a beautiful rendition of Vaishnava Janato, Gandhiji's favorite bhajan by our primary school students. Thank you for such a pleasant start. It was indeed a melodious performance.
The United Nations created the International Day of Nonviolence to reaffirm the universal relevance of the principle of nonviolence and to secure a culture of peace, tolerance, understanding, and nonviolence. Politics is the morally conscientious and socially responsible exercise of civic roles. Nonviolence is the key to this. Violence is normally seen as the means to an end. Very few of us desire a world with war, crime, and terrorism.
Dedicated to the promotion of the well-being of the people of Indian origin, enhancement of cooperation and communication between Indians in Singapore as well as other countries of the world, the Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, or GOPIO, is accredited by the United Nations as a non-government organization, and it is recognized as a secular, non-religious, and non-political global organization. Today, GOPIO is spread in 19 countries with over 25 chapters.
Today, we have honorable guests among us who have graciously consented to take out time from their busy schedules to be a part of our celebration. We take immense pleasure to welcome our guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. P Kumaran, High Commissioner of India to Singapore. It is an honor to have you here with us today, sir. We also welcome Ms. Irene Aryaputri, Secretary General, United Nations Association of Singapore. A warm welcome to Mr. Hari Krishnan, President of GOPIO, Mr. Chandramohan Maruthan, the Vice President of GOPIO, and Mr. Iqbal Jumabhoy, the Advisor of GOPIO Singapore. May I now request our chairman and co-founder of the Global Schools Foundation, Mr. Atul Temurnikar, to kindly come up and deliver the welcome address. Sir, please.
Very good morning to all of you. Our guest of honor, His Excellency Mr. P Kumaran, High Commissioner of India to Singapore, Ms. Irene Aryaputri, Secretary General of the UN Association of Singapore, Mr. Hari Krishnan, President, GOPIO, representatives from other community organizations, respected dignitaries, guests, students, teachers, and friends. It gives me a great pleasure to join you all today to celebrate the 153rd birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi in Singapore after a 2-year gap. It holds a special place of pride in hosting this on behalf of the High Commission of India year on year. This GIIS campus has been the home to the only children-friendly museum in Singapore dedicated to the Mahatma Gandhi since 2006, when it was officially opened by then India's Union Minister for Education, Mr. Arjun Singh. This tradition has gotten even more special this year as we at Global Schools Foundation are celebrating the 20th year anniversary in Singapore. As Mr. Antonio Guterres, Secretary General of United Nations, said in his tweet in the last 2 days, on this International Day of Nonviolence, we celebrate Mahatma Gandhi's birthday and values of peace, respect, and essential dignity, and shared by everyone. What can we say about the great iconic person we know as Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, who is epitomized for peace, nonviolence, and racial harmony across the world? For Indians, he is simply Bapuji, the father of the nation, who took everyone down the path of liberty and taught the importance of humility, self-reliance, and universal brotherhood. We at GIIS have given him a unique tribute by creating a almost lookalike replica of his personal space in the Gandhi Museum to give students a peek and a daily reminder of peace and racial harmony. Gandhiji's simple living was not to be mistaken for his softness. Mahatma Gandhi showed enormous courage, strong values and principles, and advocated social change and spiritual awakening in the heart of every Indian citizen. Legend has it that in his early years, Gandhiji was deeply moved by the tale of King Harishchandra, the one who sacrificed his kingdom and family to follow the path of truth. His story inspired Gandhiji so much that he resolved to be truthful throughout his entire life. Later, he would go on to inspire a nation's young and youth and world citizens to a great extent. One of them is none other than our Indian Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, who has followed up on the Mahatma's idea of self-reliance with his very own version called Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign. According to PM Modi, a strong and self-reliant India will be a strong and powerful India, and demonstrated recently through the launch of 5G telecom services across India just yesterday. And for those of you who are using 5G for the last couple of years here, this 5G technology in India was actually developed by Indian organizations completely indigenously and deployed in the telecom sector yesterday. And who knows, with the same speed of research and innovation, India may well be on its path to roll out 6G and 7G, maybe even before other countries do that in the future. The PM himself is an advocate of khadi, the handloom material as a symbol of self-reliance. Many times in his monthly podcast, called the Man Ki Baat, Mr. Modi has advocated the use of khadi as a true tribute to our freedom fighters. For the students, we on our own encourage you to wear simple clothing, be it in school, be it outside. And since khadi is very, very friendly to the Singapore climate, so instead of using branded products, branded clothing, it's something that you should be, kind of enjoying and also feeling comfortable in. So not just India, Gandhiji's legacy continues to inspire United Nations and the many countries under that, which is, in a way, sending a powerful message to extremely volatile and extremely rocky portions of the world, as you have seen in the recent conflicts and misunderstandings. Singapore is one such country which holds the distinction of being one of the few places in the world where Gandhiji's ashes were immersed in 1948. There is a plaque in commemoration at the Clifford Pier, next to what you know today as the Fullerton Bay Hotel, inaugurated by Senior Minister Goh Chok Tong and PM Modi in 2018. So in case next time you go around MBS, look for that particular plaque. You will find it next to the lobby of the Fullerton Bay Hotel, and you may want to, kind of remind yourself of the iconic connection Singapore has with Mahatma Gandhi. Our friend forever, late Mr. Amir Ali Jumabhai, was an ardent follower of Gandhiji, and since 2006 has always joined us in this celebration with the Indian High Commission. Amir Bhai in the past had regaled the young students with stories of his encounter with Mahatma and how his father sent a letter to Mahatma Gandhiji to help them move out of a war situation here. And Mahatma Gandhiji promptly sent a ship, an entire ship for the families, including Amir Bhai's families, to get evacuated from Singapore. And Mr. Jumabhai, our students will always miss you dearly, but we'll always remember your passionate stories, which we have video recorded, and we will share with our students on an ongoing basis. GIIS founding trustee, late Justice Dharmadhikari, was also a staunch follower of Gandhi and had proposed universal values and ethics to be always an important pillar of the organization, as inspired by Gandhiji's teachings and thoughts. So for the past 2 decades, GIIS has been standing on these principles of peace, of racial harmony and brotherhood, which talks about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, or the whole world is one family. In fact, our Mahatma Gandhi Center is a testimony to how we follow Gandhiji's values in each of our campuses, be it in Singapore or the other 11 countries that we are in. And in everything that the students do, it is reflected. Our values in imparting good education among young generation is visible through peace curriculum, which encourages them to go out to the community at large, particularly the ones which are underprivileged, be it Singapore or Japan or other countries, and to help those people, family members in need. Our students are taught social empowerment through work and action, through our curriculum, and get a chance to initiate programs like Hunger Warrior, Project Smile, World Vision Literacy Program, etc., which truly signifies their commitment towards the betterment of the society. By doing so, we believe it will help them grow up to become persons with good character and leaders with compassion. And I truly believe that our students will imbibe the same values that Mahatma Gandhi has given us, while keeping their learning curve high, both academically, morally, and emotionally, which will help them become successful leaders of tomorrow. With our young global citizens, we fully agree that what UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said yesterday, that we can defeat today's challenges by embracing these values and working across cultures and borders to build a better future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful and inspiring speech. We now request Mr. Hari Krishnan, President of GOPIO, to come up on stage to address the August gathering. Sir, please.
A very good morning to everyone. Wonderful. The last time I came, I found the school to be very modernized and with high tech. So when I spoke to some of the students, asked them some questions on Gandhiji, they were able to give me in split seconds the answer. So a wonderful school, modern school with the good administrative staff and teachers and intelligent students like you. I think I shall have no problem. Thank you. His Excellency, Mr. P Kumaran, High Commissioner of India to Singapore, Ms. Saswati Dey, First Secretary, Political and Press Information Culture Wing, High Commissioner of India, Mr. Atul Dominikar, Chairman and co-founder of GSF, Ms. Irene Aryaputri, Secretary General, United Nations Association of Singapore, Mr. Iqbal Jumoboy, Advisor to GOPIO Singapore. A very good morning to one and all. Mr. Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, commonly known as Gandhi, which is Sanskrit means a great soul, is a mass leader. Gandhi's principles have always fostered communal harmony, international relations, and understanding, and protest against colonial and racial discrimination. The Indian diaspora worldwide is another domain where Gandhi's contribution and relevance cannot be overlooked. Gandhi has been one of the key figures in the making of Indian diaspora. Gandhi's major weapon of a revolution, that is satyagraha, or passive resistance, was experimented in diaspora, first in South Africa and later in Mauritius and Fiji. Simultaneously, the satyagraha, passive resistance, success story in India permeated to several diasporic countries across the globe. Ironically, however, Gandhi has not been emphasized sufficiently in diaspora as compared to other areas of discourse. It is his connection we can ask why Gandhi and the Indian diaspora is so important. What is the significance of diaspora in Gandhi and vice versa? However, to understand the role of Mahatma Gandhi from diasporic perspective, we need to know the various dimensions of the overseas life and contributions of Mahatma Gandhi. Let us look at South Africa. Gandhi got his start as an activist in South Africa, not India. The Satyagraha here was a part of the struggle of India for its dignity and a moral crusade. Though waged on the South African soil, Gandhi's South African experiment is a great message to the Indian diaspora worldwide. Mauritius, let us look at Mauritius. Mahatma Gandhi referred to the inhumane treatment of the indentured Indians in Mauritius. Between 1910s and 1940s, Mahatma Gandhi came in touch with several Mauritians. He encouraged them to work for the social, political, and economic betterment of the Mauritians. Today, it is widely known and accepted by the Mauritians that the visit of Mahatma Gandhi has had long-lasting impact on their country's history. Thirdly, we look at Fiji. Similarly, in Fiji, Gandhi was very sensitive towards the indentured system as well as the ill treatment of the indentured laborers. It was only Gandhi's treat of nationwide satyagraha, passive resistance, which brought an end to the recruitment in 1917. This resulted in the termination of the indentured system in 1920 in Fiji. Mahatma Gandhi is not just a face of modern India, but it's the most influential icon for the diaspora today, which cut across communities and ideological barriers. Gandhi's name evidently has cultural and capital everywhere in the world. There are many research institutions, cultural centers, social organizations in the name of Mahatma Gandhi in almost all countries having diaspora presence. To conclude, with his multifaceted life, Gandhi has highly influenced different Indians worldwide. In fact, Gandhi had made the Indian diaspora more prominent to be of a public interest wherever Indians are. Gandhi has been one of the monumental figures who will always be part of the foreign policy, community life, and political activities in India and abroad. It's the most important link between the country and her diaspora. There are many quotes of Mahatma Gandhi today. I think if you look at the intelligent students, I don't have to tell you much, but I'd just like to highlight two of them about changes taking place. Our greatest ability as humans is not to change the world, but to change ourselves. If you want to change the world, start with yourself. Be the change you want to be. For students and youth, he said something simple. Live as if you were to die tomorrow. Learn as if you would live forever. If you worry about yesterday's failure, then today's success will be few. Your future depends on what you do today. Start working, students, today. Mahatma Gandhi is synonymous to world peace, and let us pray for world peace. Now, something which disturbs me is such a great man who promoted peace was never awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. But when Martin Luther King got his Nobel Prize, he acknowledged Gandhi's work in his acceptance speech in 1989. Again, we have the 14th Dalai Lama called his award to tribute to mentor Mahatma Gandhi. He tributed Mahatma Gandhi as his mentor. And finally, in 2006, the Nobel Committee publicly expressed regret that Gandhi had never been given the Nobel Prize. The message to students, the youth here, is that the world is never fair. So when you read history books, don't ever think that history books are 100% correct. So whatever you read, you must interpret with your own knowledge. So read as wide as possible to understand the truth. So, students, I wish all of you the best. Follow Gandhijian principles. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that informative and motivating speech about the father of our nation, Mahatma Gandhi. We would now like to call upon stage Ms. Irene Aryeputri to address the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Your Excellency High Commissioner of India to Singapore, Mr. P Kumaran, Chairman and co-founder of GISF, Mr. Atul Tamurnikar, President of GoPio, Mr. Harikrishnan Muthusamy, Advisor to GoPio, Mr. Iqbal Jumaboy, First Secretary of the Indian High Commission, Ms. Swati Dey, Principal, teachers, students of GIIS, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a very good morning to all of you. It is indeed a great pleasure and honor for the United Nations Association of Singapore to be present here to mark the birth of Mahatma Gandhi and to commemorate the International Day of Nonviolence 2022. This is an important occasion to disseminate the message of nonviolence, especially through education and public awareness. We must be resolute in reaffirming the universal relevance of the principle of nonviolence and the urgent need to secure a culture of peace, tolerance, understanding, and nonviolence. It doesn't take much to recognize how our world has become more violent. Real-life stories involving violence are everywhere, on the news, on the internet, in our social media feeds. Violence is growing. Each year, over 1.6 million people worldwide lose their lives to violence. And around the globe, violence is among the leading causes of death for people aged 15 to 44. For every person who dies as a result of violence, many more are injured and suffer from a range of physical, sexual, reproductive, and mental health problems. Now let's take a deep breath and take a step back to review our collective progress in promoting nonviolence. The International Day of Peace started in 1981 by the UN resolution that encourages all humanity to commit to peace above all differences and to contribute to building a culture of peace. 20 years later, the UN General Assembly unanimously deemed 2nd October a 24-hour period of ceasefire and non-violence in an effort to promote unity and peace. Global peace is the summum bonum, the supreme ideal. It is a noble and necessary pursuit, and the only practical pathway to a better, fairer world for all people. Yet in too many places, in too many contexts, we are failing the cause of peace. We fail to understand peace in its various dimensions: personal, social, national, and international, and how intertwined these dimensions are to each other. Peace is more just than an absence of war. Of course, a certain degree of peace will be achieved by removing all kinds of violence, such as war, environmental destructions, violations of human rights, cruelty against women and children, exploitation, and oppression of the weak, poor, and illiterate. But peace is not merely a state of nonviolence or absence of wars. Peace is an attainment of positivity in each human being. It means dignity and well-being for all. And through peace, we have the opportunities to create a better future. The Global Peace Index reported that we have a less peaceful world in the last decade. This is our wake-up call. What can we do as a society? Reports from UNESCO and the Global Peace Index have shown that intercultural dialogues play a significant part in building sustainable peace. 89% of all conflicts globally occur in countries with low intercultural dialogue. If we can put aside intolerance and prejudice and instead promote intercultural dialogues, peace, economic development, and global stability will be closer to our reach. Intercultural dialogue may sound like another buzzword in this world full of noises, but what we are trying to do here is essentially to talk. Yes, it is that simple, but at the same time, it is difficult. It is about listening as much as it is about expressing our views. It is about maintaining peaceful behaviors as much as it is about championing our causes. The theme of this year's International Day of Peace, End Racism, Build Peace, reminds us of the many ways racism poisons people's hearts and minds and erodes the peace we all seek. Racism robs people of their rights and dignity. It inflames inequalities and mistrusts. And it pushes people apart at a time when all of us should be coming together. As one human family, we need to repair this fractured world, the world that is ours. Instead of fighting each other, we should be working to defeat our true enemies: racism, poverty, inequalities, conflicts, the climate crisis, and the COVID-19 pandemic. We should tear down structures that sustain racism and lift up human rights movements everywhere. And we should drown out the vicious voices of hate speech with a united and sustained cry for truth, understanding, and mutual respect. On this important day, a time of observing 24 hours of nonviolence and ceasefire, we renew our call for all people to do more than just laying down their weapons. We call on them to reaffirm the bonds of solidarity we share as human beings and to get down to the business of building a better, more peaceful world. We may never be strong enough to be entirely nonviolent in thoughts, words, and deeds. But we must keep nonviolence as our goal and make consequential progress towards it. As arduous as this challenge sounds, we have each other. And in fact, We have to rely on each other to create a more peaceful, resilient, and equitable world, one capable of facing the myriad challenges that lie ahead. We wish all of you a meaningful and fruitful commemoration of International Day of Nonviolence 2022. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for your powerful speech and helping us reflect on our world today. May I now humbly request Mr. Iqbal Jumabhoy, the advisor of GOPIO Singapore, to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Wow, what an impressive room, impressive group of people. The most important people in the world, the next generation. So I'll start first of all, Your Excellency, P Kumaran, Atul Temunikar, my good friend and chairman of GSF, Mr. Hari, Ms. Irene. Thank you all, and all of you, thank you so much for being here today, and thank you for giving me a few minutes of your attention. Atul Bhai made a comment during his speech about my grandfather and entreating Gandhi Ji, the Mahatma, to send ships to save Indians in Singapore. And on one of those ships, in fact, pretty much the last ship out, my father accompanied his then pregnant mother and his younger siblings to India as refugees. Now, I think for all of you, or for many of the children in this room, you will not know, but some of us were born with a passport that said British subject. We were born in a colonial Britain, but we were not citizens. We were subjects. We were a subject race. And that doesn't mean a lot. It's just a word. But my father one day said to me, he said, when I went to India on that ship, we Indians, the ship was sent for us, but we Indians were all placed below deck. And above deck, in the nice rooms and in the suites and having dinners and dances, were our colonial masters. And at one point, the ship was stopped by a Japanese warship, and the captain, when asked who's on board, he said, "Oh, they are all Indians," and therefore the Japanese let them through. And he said, for the first time in my life, I understood what it was to be a subject. I was actually owned by another power, by another country. So these are my father's words. My father's no longer with us, but I always remember that, because the next step for him was he got to Bombay, started university, and somebody told him, "Come with me, there's a speech going on in the Bombay Maidan." And that's when he heard Gandhi Ji speaking. And after that, my father became a committed freedom fighter and spent the rest of his years at university with the freedom movement, fighting for India's independence. So, thank you. So I say to you, I say to all of you, particularly the young among us, you're not owned by anybody. Listen to Gandhi Ji. You are your own person. You have your own place in the world. And I exhort you to remember that, because every one of us, whoever we are, contributes. I have a second theme, and I'd just like to make a quick comment, because I know I have limited time before the guest of honor. And that is that today we live in a world of strife. We have political strife, we have religious strife, and it's religion which often causes one of the biggest or is a cause of difference. When somebody doesn't have something, what he does is to try to look for some difference with somebody else, and religion is an easy one. So I'd like to quote from Gandhiji, and he said, and I bear with me, it's slightly long. He says, all religions are more or less true. All proceed from the same God, but all are imperfect because they've come through us through imperfect human instrumentality. That means through humans. So he says, I do not, in reality, there are as many religions as there are individuals. I do not share the belief that there can or will be on earth one religion. So long as there are different religions, every one of them may need some outward distinctive symbol. But when the symbol is made into a fetish and an instrument of proving superiority of one's religion over another, it is only fit to be discarded. So in essence, his ideas were, after long study and experience, I've come to the conclusion, all religions are true, all religions have some errors in them, all religions are almost as dear to me as my own Hinduism, inasmuch as all human beings should be as dear to me as one's own close relatives. My own veneration for other faiths is the same as that for my own faith. So I'll close just to ask you to think about that, dwell on that. They're quite deep comments, but recognize that there's more that binds us, more that makes us the same than makes us different. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for that motivating and informative speech. I now take the opportunity to request His Excellency, Mr. P. Kumaran, to say a few words. Sir, please.
Chairman GIIS, Mr. Atul Temunikar, Gopio President, Mr. Hari Krishnan, Secretary General of the UN Association of Singapore, Ms. Irene Nariputri, Advisor Gopio, Mr. Iqbal Jumabhai, friends, dear students, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and namaskar. Today is a special day in more than one way. Even as we mark the birth anniversary of Mahatma Gandhi and of Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji, we do so as India celebrates 75 years of its independence. A very happy Gandhi Jayanti and the International Day of Non-Violence to all of us. I'm glad we are able to celebrate this occasion in person this year as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to recede. This is an occasion for us to recall the principles and values Gandhiji stood for, examine their relevance to today's world, increasingly riven by conflicts, disagreement, and hatred, and to pass on the essence of these teachings to the next generation. The teachings and messages of Mahatma Gandhi bring with them a certain quality of timelessness. His ideas and philosophy resonate in various forms, even today, with leaders and policymakers around the world in pursuit of providing good people-centric governance, providing better and sustainable standards of living to their people, and respecting nature. As far as India is concerned, Gandhiji's ideas were enshrined in a number of ways in the Constitution, making India a beacon of delivery of social justice and broad-based welfarism. Some of his values also found place as guiding principles for governance as part of the directive principles of state policy in India. Gandhiji was truly international in his influence and the reach of his thought. After his death, his techniques of non-violent protest have been successfully used in many countries. Even in India, Gandhiji's methods of satyagraha have been applied in different ways and to different ends over the years since independence. There are some key aspects of Gandhiji's legacy that continue to remain relevant, not just to India, but to the entire world. Please allow me to highlight some of them. The first area is nonviolent resistance, that social change is both less harmful and more sustainable when achieved by non-violent means is now widely recognized. Throughout his life, Gandhiji's approach consisted of pursuing reconciliation of various kinds. He sought to reconcile Hindus and Muslims, men and women, low castes and high castes, and people from various regions of the subcontinent. Throughout his satyagraha campaigns, Gandhiji brought more women to public life than any other modern politician. He also vigorously promoted linguistic pluralism. The second area is interfaith understanding and religious tolerance. Mr. Iqbal Jumabhoy spoke about this earlier. Gandhiji did not believe that science had all the answers to the mysteries of the universe. For him, faith answered to a deep human need. There was in Gandhiji's life and work an inseparable bond between nonviolence and religious pluralism. Gandhiji pioneered the idea of interfaith prayer meetings where texts of different religions were read and sung to a mixed audience. Yet Gandhiji did not think that there was one privileged path to God. He believed that every religious tradition was a different version of the same universal truth. He encouraged interreligious dialogue so that individuals could see their own faith in the critical reflections of another. The third area is his commitment to an economic model that stresses harmony with nature. The increasing concerns relating to the environment and climate change have brought a fundamental question to the fore. How much should a person consume? Back in 1928, Gandhiji had warned about the unsustainability on the global scale of Western patterns of production and consumption. He believed that with simple living, the resources of the planet Earth can sustain us comfortably. His well-known saying that the Earth provides us enough for our needs, but not for our greeds, is extremely apt today. Gandhiji's promotion of a resource-conserving lifestyle was perhaps part of his broader commitment to non-violence, in the sense that he sought to eschew violence to the earth itself. The COVID-19 crisis has made us realize that it is indeed possible to live with much less than what we thought was possible. One of the major themes of the 2030 SDG agenda is captured by the phrase, "Leave no one behind." Gandhiji was precautious in underlining this sentiment during his time as part of his Antyodaya approach, where he said that the progress of a society should be determined by the state of the most vulnerable and the weakest ones. The fourth area that Gandhiji emphasized was courtesy in public debate and transparency in one's public dealings. Gandhi's heightened self-awareness and openness to self-criticism stands in striking contrast to most politicians. One of Gandhiji's greatest strengths was to use simple day-to-day objects and convert them into powerful symbols of resistance against oppression. We saw how he used the charkha, the spinning wheel, and khadi, the Indian homemade cloth, as effective symbols of economic self-reliance and empowerment. His choice of breaking the salt law during the Dandi March in 1930-31 was a real masterstroke that captured the imagination of the Indian public and the masses and posed a huge challenge for the British colonial regime. So many years after his death, Gandhiji continues to matter for his pioneering of non-violent techniques of protest or satyagraha, for his willingness to stake his life in the cause of religious peace, for his respect of other living beings and for the earth, and for transparency in public life. His humility and dedication to service make him a role model for many even today. On the occasion of the birth of the father of the Indian nation today, I wish you all again a very happy Gandhi Jayanti. I thank Gopio and the GIIS team, including the teachers and students, for their efforts towards organizing today's excellent event. We will be partnering again with GIIS and a few other community organizations to organize a Khadi exhibition and a fashion show later this month. Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you, sir, for motivating and enlightening us with your words. Now, we call upon our dancers on stage for the dance performance. This dance is a peaceful rendition of Velayi Pookal, Gandhiji's favorite song, Vaishnava Janato and Ganesh Vandana. It depicts tranquility, non-violence, and eternal peace. A semi-classical performance performed by the dancers of middle and high school.
வெள்ளை பூக்கள் உலகம் எங்கும் மலரவே விடியும் பூமி அமைதிக்காக விடுகவே மண்மேல் மஞ்சள் வெளிச்சம் விழுகவே மலரே சோம்பல் முறித்து இழுகவே குழந்தை விழிக்கட்டுமே தாயின் கதகதப்பில் உலகம் விடியட்டுமே பிள்ளையின் சிறு முதல் சிரிப்பு வெள்ளை பூக்கள் உலகம் எங்கும் மலரவே மலரவே
वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो तेने कहिए जे पीड़ पराई जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तो ये पर दुखे
What a graceful performance.
Indeed, that was.
It is now time to felicitate our esteemed guests for the day. May I invite Chairman Mr. Atul Temurnikar and Mr. Hari Krishnan, President of GOPIO, to kindly come on stage. May I also invite His Excellency Mr. P Kumaran to kindly come on stage and receive a token of our appreciation. I request Mr. Atul to present the token of appreciation to His Excellency Mr. Kumaran.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request Mr. Hari Krishnan to present the token of appreciation to His Excellency Mr. Kumaran.
Thank you, sir. Sirs, may I request you all to kindly remain on stage. May I now request Miss Irene to kindly come up on stage for the felicitation. Ma'am, please. I would request Mr. Atul to present the token of appreciation to Miss Irene.
Thank you, sir. Now, I request Mr. Hari Krishnan to present the token of appreciation to Miss Irene.
Thank you, sir. May we request you again to please stay on stage for a few more minutes. I request Mr. Hari Krishnan to felicitate Mr. Atul.
Thank you, sir. Now, we humbly request you again to stay on stage for a group photograph. Thank you, sirs. Thank you, ma'am, for your presence. We request you to kindly take your seats. Finally, we would like to invite Mr. Chandramohan Marathan, the Vice President of GOPIO, on stage to give the vote of thanks. Sir, please.
Hi everyone. Those of you who have studied in GISS since primary school, most of you remember me. I've been doing this show for almost 10 years, right? So, warm welcome to you. His Excellency Mr. P Kumaran, High Commissioner of India to Singapore, Mr. Atul Temurnikar, Chairman and Co-founder Global School of Foundation, GSF, Mr. Hari Krishnan Muthuswamy, President, Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, GOPIO Singapore, Ms. Irene Ariputri, Secretary General, United Nations Association of Singapore, Mr. Iqbal Jumoboy, Advisor, Global Organization of People of Indian Origin, Singapore, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and students of GISS. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a word of thanks today in this occasion. Before I start, let me just share something that was very coincidental yesterday. While I was preparing this message yesterday, my family is watching a Tamil show in Vasantham. Okay, and then there was this Tamil song there, which went, okay, don't ask me to sing the song, that'll spoil your week, but I'll just say what the Tamil song said. Millions of people come and go in this world, but only the greatest one who have achieved and contributed to the society will be remembered. I felt that is very true in the case of Mahatma Gandhi, who advocated nonviolence to secure a culture of peace, tolerance, understanding, and nonviolence not only in India, but he's recognized almost with everyone around the world for his philosophy. On 15 June 2007, UN General Assembly passed a resolution on which established the commemoration of the International Day of Nonviolence, an occasion to disseminate the message of nonviolence, including through education and public awareness. The resolution reaffirms the universal relevance of the principle of nonviolence and the desire to secure culture, peace, tolerance, understanding, and nonviolence. Besides that, we also talked about poverty, religion, pluralism, and also some women's rights. So all this was actually covered by our speakers earlier on. The date chosen to celebrate this special occasion was 2nd October, the birthday of Mahatma Gandhi, leader of the Indian independence movement and pioneer of the philosophy and strategies of nonviolence. It has been 15 years now, and GOPIO and GISS is proud to announce that we have also celebrating our 15th International Day of Nonviolence today on the 153rd birth anniversary of Gandhiji. At this juncture, I need to thank our late senior member, Mr. Amir Ali Jumoboy, for initiating this event back in 2007. Special thanks to Mr. Atulji for this support and partnership all these years for the past 15 years. Besides these two gentlemen and organizations, there are many people and other organizations that have actually come together and put this event together. So on behalf of GOPIO Singapore and Global Indian International School, I would like to take this opportunity to thank His Excellency, Mr. P Kumaran, High Commissioner of India to Singapore, for supporting our event today and delivering an excellent keynote speech, and also for the High Com Office for supporting us for the past 15 years. Ms. Irene Ariputri for delivering this year's message from United Nations, Mr. Hari Krishnan and Mr. Iqbal and Mr. Atulji for their special messages today. I also like to extend my appreciation to Ms. Swasti Day, First Secretary, Political and Press Information and Cultural Wing of Indian High Com, Ms. Michelle Bianca Gozali from United Nations University Representative, all GOPIO executive members for their presence today. My sincere gratitude to the young and talented GSS team who gave us the performance earlier, and to the two MCs for taking us through the event. I congratulate and thank the teachers for bringing out the talents of the students. Special thanks to the organizing team of today's event. Thanks to Mamta, Principal of GSS, and the entire team of GSS team, Mr. Hari Krishnan, Mr. Rajesh Kumar, Ms. Vasantham, and the entire GOPIO team for their support for this organizing today's event. Finally, I would like to thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and the students of GISS for participating in this event and making this event a special one. A very big thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. We request everyone to rise for the national anthems. Audience, we would request you to please maintain silence. Thank you. We request the audience to kindly remain seated. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.
ये जो देश है तेरा स्वदेश है तेरा तुझे है